Hey, George, you good? Thank you. All right, welcome everybody to the Thursday, April 11th, Town of Monroe Planning Board Workshop Meeting. Noreen, would you please do roll call attendance?
Here.
Here. Pat Shea,
Here. Here.
filling in for. For Nick. All right, I'd like to point out the fire exits. There are two in front of me and to the audience's rear. There's the main entrance, and there is another out that way to the patio. And so with that, would we please all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the. All right, first item on the agenda is BJ site plan. Okay. And let the record reflect that Jeff Manson is recused.
Is this one on? Okay.
State your name for the record.
Good evening, George Lithgow from J&G Law. On behalf of the applicant, with me is Pat Smith, representing RD Management.
Okay. The reason we're here tonight is one of the conditions for the BJ's Gas site plan approval was a conditional letter from O&R allowing, not allowing, but listing no objection to the proposed gas station, the station being adjacent to the O&R easement for the transmission lines. We've been working now with O&R for 3 years, two and a half years anyway, to try and get this letter, and we're not going to get it. They are being absolutely unreasonable, primarily with regard to liability. What they're claiming is that even if they cause an issue while working in the easement area, say if their truck runs over someone or truck hits a vehicle, or if something happens to the transmission lines and someone gets hurt in the parking lot, either in the easement area or in one of the adjacent parking lots, that us as the applicant, what they call the owner entities, would be liable. And there's no way that anyone, any owner of a property is going to agree to that, and there's no way that BJ's is going to agree to it either. So I'm just coming here with a request that condition number 6?
Condition 7 and 5, I believe.
Yeah, condition 7 and 5 be removed, and that we be allowed to go ahead and build the gas station. We're still going to work with O&R, with their engineering department. We're going to abide by the work plan that they've given us. We're still going to have the meetings with them on site prior to construction, and anytime they want to come out during construction. So we're still going to do everything that O&R wants us to do. We're just not going to have this letter that's just being held up by their legal department down in New York City. It's going to be built in connection with O&R, in accordance to all O&R safety plans. We're just not going to have this letter that doesn't do anything for the project anyway. It doesn't change anything in the project. It's just a letter that's going to satisfy their legal department. And at this point now, we're never going to get that letter.
I don't understand what you mean by letter. Are you talking about a letter between you and O&R,
That's
or
the
the
letter
agreement between
correct,
you
yeah,
and O&R?
that's a conditional letter agreement that it's basically a no objection letter from them. But if it was just a no objection letter, it should just be one sentence long. We don't object, and build it in accordance with the work plan. That's not what it is. I think we've shared drafts of this letter with the board. It's 3 pages long, and it's a lot of nonsense. but we're willing to live with all of the nonsense. We're just not willing to live with the liability provisions, that they want to transfer all of their liability onto us. It's unreasonable, and there's no way that we'll ever agree to it, and there's no way that BJ's will ever agree to it.
So Ashley, would you like to give us your understanding? I'm sure you reviewed the agreement in detail, or you had a copy of the agreement, yes?
Yes, we did have a copy, and they're unable to, my understanding is they're unable to come to an agreement on this liability language. So, that's something for the applicant or the owner and O&R to work out. So it's not something we really have any say in. Conditions, I did prepare a proposed amended resolution for your consideration. It would remove those conditions, but add in there a statement that this approval is subject to any public utility easements on the property, because if O&R ultimately has an issue, the applicant has to work out whatever they do with O&R, and they're proceeding at their own risk in that regard. If O&R is going to try to
Sean, do you have any comments?
I don't, my only concern was with regards to the constructability of the stormwater management facility, which is located within the easement. The whole design is premised on that. Should O&R object to that, which my understanding is they have not to date, the applicant will have to seek a new location of those stormwater management facilities in an amended site plan.
Lou, any questions, comments?
Comments?
Pat?
So is this kind of an indemnification issue?
Yeah, that's exactly what it
Yes.
is, yes.
Basically, it's shifting all the risk for anything that happens to the owner entities, whether or not it's related to the actions of O&R or the owners. It's all going to be on the owners.
John, let's just say something did happen. Would it have to happen in the stormwater runoff district or area in order for there to be any liability on anyone's part?
I'll defer to Ashley on that.
I don't, it's, question, Sean's concern was that they have to construct that stormwater management facility in order for the site plan to work. That's an integral part of the site plan. So his concern was that if for some reason O&R and the applicant, if O&R comes back and says, no, we changed our mind, you can't build this, and stops them from doing the work somehow, brings them to court, I can't really fathom what they would do to actually try to stop that, but they'd have to return to you then for an amended site plan approval to have adequate stormwater measures in place. So it's really a private liability indemnification issue between the applicant and O&R.
We recognize the responsibility to do what's shown on the site plan. It has been reviewed by O&R Engineering. The engineers had some minor comments. Those were addressed months ago, last year in June. And they really were minor things like grounding wires, a few things like that. So this is really a dispute. I mean, I guess to the extent there's a dispute, it's a dispute between the easement holder and the person who owns the land about how to use it. But
Was there any other way to mitigate this other than getting O&R to give a hold harmless agreement, or?
well, O&R is looking for the owners to give a hold harmless. So if something happens, and the example was if a crane was to fall over and hit a car, or if it fell over and hit the pavement.
Talking about a utility pole?
No,
If
well, the crane,
if O&R's crane, if they're working on the site and their crane falls over and hits a car in the parking lot, they want us to be responsible for that, even though it's their crane hitting a third party's car. That would be our responsibility, and that's not something we're willing to take on.
and just,
A little
And
crazy.
so it is a private matter between them. I don't know, I mean, that's their reading of the language that O&R is proposing. I don't know that O&R wouldn't or they shouldn't be, seeking such a broad liability, but that's for them to work out.
So what's possible for us, planning board?
And the resolution that required this letter agreement in order to allow them to proceed.
Okay, thank you.
Dylan?
So, a matter of the board, maybe this question to Ashley. If we eliminate that requirement and an agreement is not in place, does it remain a private matter if there's an issue?
Yes.
Anywhere on that property?
If there's an issue between the easement holder, O&R, and the applicant, that would be a private matter, yes.
I think, would we be liable? No. Okay.
That was my comment, that I think we'd all feel more comfortable if the resolution in some way reflects that it is a private situation, that's how the applicant has represented it, and that we bear no liability for them moving forward to construct without whatever approvals they need from O&R, based on the representations. Would you like me to pull up the resolution? All right, so this is an amended resolution, and I'm just going to, everybody's seen this before, but I'm going to scroll down to
Another example I'm thinking of is if a member of the public got hurt during the construction or in the construction zone, around the construction zone. At what point?
That would be the applicant, developer or the applicant, they're the property owner. So you would never be, but with any application, that would tie you to.
to put it right here.
I think you gave me
Under your
Sean's
nose.
mic, maybe, George.
No, but you're not looking into it. You've got it away from you. Move it to the center.
So when it's on, well, I guess it's the red, that's how you know.
Yeah. Usually I don't have an issue.
It looks like it's okay now. All right, so this is the first amendment to the local law, to the resolution. So this approval is subject to any public utility easements on the property.
Maybe in that statement, well, it had removed the one that, if you'll see on the right there, it shows what was taken out. So
The number 5 prior to the
Yes.
issuance? Right.
So where I had added in, this approval is subject to any public utility easements on the property, perhaps you could add in, the applicant has represented that they will perform all work in accordance with requirements of O&R? Or,
All applicable requirements. There are some things O&R would like, which I don't believe are applicable.
Do you have somewhere else where it says that they're proceeding at their own risk?
no, not,
So I would say something like the applicant has represented that our engineering has reviewed. I think we need to say something about it being private between the two. So applicant O&R has reviewed the site plan and had edits, did revisions, the easement.
and had limited revisions that were incorporated into the plan, is that correct? you had incorporated those revisions?
Yes.
Yeah, all those revisions have been incorporated, so they have no objection to the site plan. The site plan has been approved by the board. There's no objections to the site plan by ONR.
The applicant has represented that ONR has reviewed the site plan and had limited engineering revisions that were incorporated into the plan.
Normally, when you do a project like this, you have to carry an insurance policy, correct? Liability policy?
Oh, of course, yes.
And you'll have an ongoing liability policy as well going forward.
Oh, yes, of course, yeah. There's insurance on the property now, and there'll continue to be insurance, and then there'll be a supplemental insurance put in once the BJ's, well, for construction of the BJ's gas station and for the ongoing operation of the BJ's gas station.
Okay, thank you.
I just want to give a tiny little bit of history. So I have the applicant, the planning board had previously requested that the applicant demonstrate that O&R consent to the improvements within the easement area, and that proof of same be provided as part of site plan approval and/or building issuance. I mean, you can revise this, I'm just like trying to get the thought out. As the applicant has not provided said evidence, and the easement matter is a private one between the two parties. The planning board is allowing, planning board will not require any submission from ONR and does not bear any liability between the parties, something like that. Because we did have, and we were extending this approval because we were waiting for a long time. And I understand your issue. So I just want to say, okay, at this point, it's a private issue between the two parties. We're gonna release them of this condition, and it's, the liability's on them, not us.
The planning board will not require any submission from ONR, and the applicant is solely
liable for any actions undertaken related to site plan construction, site construction. Because obviously, we're not trying to say they're liable beyond that. We're just we only care about the site plan part of this, because we can't say what's liable otherwise. But we acknowledge that you're going to move forward. You may not have an agreement with them, and whatever happens, you know, when you begin that construction, whether it's stormwater, et cetera, is not on us.
Correct.
that last part.
As the applicant has not provided said evidence and the easement matter is a private one between the two parties, the planning board will not require any submission from O&R, and the applicant is solely liable for any actions undertaken related to, that doesn't sound right. Applicant is solely liable for any construction activity, any activity within the easement area. I think that's okay. I mean, we could find it a little bit before.
Could I just get a little nuance in there?
Yeah, possibly.
It's not that we did not provide it, we're unable to provide it. We've tried a lot.
Yes,
Well-
the applicant is unable to provide.
As the applicant is unable,
Because otherwise, it sounds like we had it, but we didn't want to give it to you. And that's definitely not the case.
well, I mean, what you're not agreeing to is what they want, which is full liability, according to you.
According
Right.
to the last draft we saw of that
Yeah.
document, yes.
So you're not able to provide us with evidence that they're okay with this construction. So we don't have that evidence at this point.
Right. But we're unable to provide it.
What about, as the applicant is unable to provide said evidence, and the easement matter is a private one between the two parties, the planning board will not require any submission from O&R, and the applicant is proceeding at its own risk in this regard and is solely liable for any activity within the easement area.
That's good.
Good?
Proceeding at its own risk, and what was the other?
Proceeding at its own risk in this regard and is solely liable for any activity within the easement area.
Or we could say it, instead of saying, and they're proceeding at their
And the
own-
planning board is not liable for any
Exactly.
activity within the easement area.
And the planning board is not liable.
And I'll read it and just see if this is the same as what you had. This approval is subject to any public utility easements on the property. The applicant has represented that O&R has reviewed the site plan and had limited engineering revisions that were incorporated into the site plan. The planning board had previously requested that O&R consent to improvements in the easement area and proof of same be provided as part of site plan approval and/or building permit issuance. As the applicant is unable to provide said evidence and the easement matter is a private one between the two parties, the planning board will not require any submission from O&R, and the applicant is proceeding at its own risk in this regard, and the planning board is not liable for any activity within the easement area.
Just to clarify, that will be removing the requirement that we
Yes.
have that.
That would be removing
Yeah,
those two
that's-
other conditions.
So that's removed, so this is substituting for the 5 that's there, that's redlined.
Right.
Oh, you probably can't see it. So we're removing the prior to issuance of a certificate of occupancy, the applicant shall file the amended O&R electric easement as depicted on the plans.
Also removing 7, which was the one dealing with the consent letter.
So 7 has been removed. And then were there any other? Okay. All right, board members, are there any questions or additional comments on those revisions? Are you satisfied with it?
One thing you could put in there is that they will have liability insurance to cover any accidents.
That's not really something, that's not something you'd be imposing, but they will have to have that.
We will.
We will, and it's also
Well,
part,
I
it's part of
think
the
it's-
building permit, though. We have to post insurance before we can get
Right.
the building permit, so.
You have a
it's
building
covered.
permit, and you have to provide the insurance, and you
That's
have to put
correct,
on that permit that you are going to carry the insurance, correct?
That's correct, yeah. That usually is a requirement of the building permit, at the building permit, not the planning board. But if you want to put it on there, we have no objection.
Not going to come back to us anyway, so.
That's something that'll be handled at the building board.
Unless they have an issue
And
and
then
they
you
come
don't-
back to us.
If in the event they need to change the plan, then
Then it's coming back to us. if O&R sees them constructing and they don't have an easement agreement, it may come back to us, so we'll see what happens.
But we hope never to see you on this project.
Wow.
The feeling's mutual.
Any further comments?
Okay. 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 All right, so with that, I will make a motion that we approve the fifth amended resolution of conditional approval site plan as amended this evening with the revisions to the language. May I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Pat. Noreen?
Aye.
Bonnie France,
Aye.
Pat Shea,
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, so that is approved. As soon as we take care of the redlining, that'll get filed.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Good
much.
luck. When are you going to start?
Tomorrow.
Yeah, the building permit is pretty much ready to be issued, so I think we'll be starting very soon, so.
Anything happening with the other site?
Nothing as of yet, we have a couple of suspects, I would call them. I wouldn't quite call them prospects yet, but we will get that leased pretty soon.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you. Good
Thank
night.
you.
And let the minutes reflect Jeff is returning to the dais. And where is my? All right. So next item on the agenda is 127 Seven Springs Road, Monroe, New York.
Good evening, everyone.
Record?
It's like right here. John Queen with Lankin Tully Engineering, engineer for the applicant. We are before you tonight. Reluctantly, I was going to actually adjourn the matter, but only because the submission that we made was not a full submission, so I apologize for that. It's got a couple numerous things that have to be cleaned up and provided really before we can really run and move forward. But I was here on another matter tonight, so here I sit. So essentially, the buck stops with me. We're going to get those holes filled up, and we're going to resubmit to you for a complete package, probably in this next submission deadline for May.
Okay. Sean, we have comments?
I do.
Okay.
John's really cleaned up the plans. The access is consistent with what you reviewed last month. If you remember, John came in briefly to discuss the access points. There will be a shared curb cut for the rear lot and the northern lot, and the southern lot will have its own separate access. I reviewed these plans with the highway superintendent, and he is satisfied with the curb cut locations, and his request was that drainage be provided along the entire frontage of the roadway. So that'll have to be added to the plans. One of the missing pieces of information that we're going to need is a stormwater pollution prevention plan, since the disturbance is over an acre. And that'll be a full SWIP because this is, these are two-family dwellings.
So our regulations require a full SWIP for two families?
That's actually DEC. So if the disturbance was between 1 and 5 acres, which this is, and this was single-family dwellings, they would only be required to get coverage for an erosion sediment control plan. But because these are two-family dwellings, a full SWIP with water quality and detention will be required.
that the same for commercial activities, or no?
Yes.
Yeah, commercial is anything over an acre.
Okay. So it's not the 1 to 5 is still soil erosion, and 5 and above is stormwater?
Yeah, no, that still holds for residential subdivisions.
Yep.
But the code is written, like Sean was saying, it says single-family homes only.
Oh, wow, okay. Okay. That's news to me. I've
Yeah.
never come across this
Honestly,
before.
I had brought it up to John that maybe that would only be erosion sediment control, but because of the two-family nuance, it has to be
Have you ever
full.
talked to DEC about that? I'm just curious.
I've not, but it's clearly written single-family in the
permit, right?
Yeah.
Huh, okay.
We'll also need the tree plan for the site. I had a couple comments on the septic design or designs for each of the homes. And then with regards to the architecturals, there was maybe one nuance. It looked like the bedroom count was consistent for the site plans and the architecturals, but there was a weird numbering. I think it was the master bedroom, then bedrooms 3, 4, and 5. And I was wondering if the second bedroom was missing on purpose, or...
They gotta go by whatever I put on the site plan, so we'll clear it
Yeah,
up.
okay. So in that regard, the septics will be okay as long as the bedroom count is consistent between the site plan and the architecturals.
Is, just quick, so when we do the septic field design, when you all do the septic field design, it's 110 gallons per bedroom?
Per day, per bedroom.
Per day per bedroom. From Department of Health or in general for standards, is the same assumed for water consumption or not really?
Yeah, that would be the max day
Okay,
per bedroom, yep.
okay.
So with regards to water consumption, the applicant did a well pumping test for 27 hours or so. I just asked that John provide a letter with a sign and seal that the well is adequate. It did appear to be based on the data, but we just asked for John to provide a letter to that effect. About last time needing a revised EAF, if John could provide that. And then eventually we'll need to submit to county planning for the 239 referral.
Okay. They want to see the general, is that part of the package?
They would like to see the SWIP as part of the
I
referral.
think it's actually exempt under that agreement with the county because it's a subdivision of less than 5 lots. And so it just says subdivision of less than 5 lots.
Okay.
And there's no access roads or structures within the 100-year floodplain. I don't believe there is, so.
They had is this the one
Through the middle,
in the middle?
behind the front homes and in the driveway for the rear home.
Okay. All right. So Ashley, do you have any comments?
Just a few. I had sent some to John earlier, just some cleanup things with the owner's endorsement, changing the map notes since the town has now adopted that new law that clarifies all of the reduced bulk apply for lots in public sewer that meet certain criteria, so just to clean up that language. The one thing, they did submit architectural elevations for the board to review, but I do think you need to add some more. There's some detail about the colors and materials, but the code requires for all the exterior elements, so make sure, you're showing what you're using for the windows, the railings, and colors for everything, so to have all of that labeled. And then to confirm whether you're proposing the same design, same colors for all of the three dwellings.
Right, so there's one kind of floor plan and elevation, so is that essentially the same for all 3?
Yeah, we might provide you with basically like an array of colors that they could choose from. So not everyone's the same color.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll add that.
That's fair, as long as we know what they're going to be.
Correct.
Because we'll probably want earth tones or something
Yeah,
like
probably 2 or 3 different colors to probably choose from.
that. Okay.
And then I had prepared a EAF Part 2 and neg deck, but you are waiting on the SWIP still and some other information that I think it would be appropriate to wait for that information to review that, because those items are anticipating that that's all going to be good, but you
Right.
should wait until you review that.
Okay, so we have drafts that we can table for the moment, and once we have the SWIP and other information, hopefully we can take it up at the next meeting, if you're good to go.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
Okay.
Thank you.
Lou, any comments or questions?
Comments?
Jeff?
This time.
Pat?
Just a question. I have, I guess, the old plan here, and you're going to have one curb cut for 2 and 3, lots 2 and 3. Are you going to use the driveway for 3 and then have something come down into?
So the lots to your north, they're going to share, so you'll go right to go to the first lot, and then left to go to the back lot, to the one all the way in the back. And then the third lot on the south will have its own driveway cut.
I didn't have that.
Ellen?
No, thank you.
Okay. So at this point, we really can't take any further action. We'll just expect some amended plans from you, and then we'll go from there.
Correct.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
So then the next item on the agenda, I believe is yours again, Mountain View Shul.
Yes. Yes. Good evening, clarify for the record, John with Lankentelli Engineering for the applicant. We're here before you with probably a project you're very familiar with over the last year or so, 277 Mountain View Shul. We are back with a request that the board possibly consider amending the approval resolution for one of the specific conditions with regards to the water agreement between the applicant and the Village of Kairos Joel. That was a requirement that had to be provided prior to the maps being signed. I was initially coming for an extension, but apparently we've given an extension. We only have 1 year to get the map signed. So we're working with the village to try to get an agreement. The applicant has been pushing the village. The village basically came back and said, we gave you a letter that said that, we're more than happy to continue to service the property with water. Why do we need to do an agreement? So we're chipping away. The applicant has demonstrated the urgency to the village. So what we'd be looking for is the board to consider making that a condition of a certificate of occupancy, kind of the same language that we use for condition number 5, which is the sewer from DEC and the County Sewer District number 1. And that way, I believe all the maps are ready to be signed, minus that condition.
Sean, do you see any issues with this?
No issues with moving the timing of the condition. However, one suggestion was to move that to building permit rather than C of O.
At least try to get it before the issuance of the building permit, and if they can't, then we can revisit it.
If I could just clarify, that I don't have an issue with that, I don't think the applicant would, but there's been a little confusion versus building permit versus starting site work. So I don't know if we can make that differentiation, because they'd like to begin site work, so grading, leveling.
My understanding is site work would not require a building permit.
Okay. All right, I just,
We can run that by Ben, but
if we could, because on another property, it was questioned whether a building permit had to be issued to do the site work portion of it.
Are you in that area?
I'm not sure, but we don't have to remove any trees.
You're not removing trees?
No.
Okay, so you just want to start, and there was a house there, right?
There's a house, and then there's the existing shul. So
So-
they
so-
want to start leveling the back to put the,
Okay, but no tree removal or anything like that? Okay. Ashley?
I did prepare a proposed amended resolution, just with 2 changes. The first, if you go down to page 10, the first specific condition deals with, so Sean has to give his sign-off for signing of the plans. One of Sean's comments in his outstanding memo was the sewer approval, so I just added in language there to specify that that's a condition of CO, so that that wouldn't hold off getting Sean's sign-off letter. And then condition number 6 on the next page, I propose to change the timing for when the agreement with the village is required to prior to the issuance of a building permit. And I don't know if you would want to clarify in that condition
Like
For
for
the building.
construction of the dwelling?
for construction of
Of
the
any
new
dwelling.
building,
Yeah.
prior to the issuance of a building permit for the construction of the new building, the applicant shall enter into an agreement. And that should then
I have
void.
127 still on my brain, which is why I'm saying any building. Okay, so for the construction of the new building. Okay.
You could say, yeah, the new shul building. And that way it's clear.
So, board members, I'll start at this end. Dylan, do you have any?
So the request is we just defer that to reflect that agreement coming prior to issuing a building permit, correct?
Right, for the new building.
Okay. Nothing further.
Pat?
I have no
anything?
questions.
No, this makes sense to me.
Okay, Lou?
No questions.
Okay. So these are essentially the two changes. We just went through them. So I'll make a motion that the planning board approve the first amended resolution of approval for the site plan special use permit for Brightview Management, Inc., which is Mountain View Community Shul, as amended this evening. May I have a second?
Second.
Noreen?
Here,
Aye. Aye.
Bonnie France,
Aye.
excuse me, Pat Shea,
Aye.
Dylan Penn.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, so with that, the motion carries, and
Thank you, as always.
you're welcome.
Just have one quick question. How many copies of the site plan would you require for the signature?
All of a sudden? I need 6, so whatever you need to take back, add to it.
We'll do 8.
It's fine by me. And then after it gets signed and sealed and delivered, I need one scanned back to me.
That's easy. Okay.
That's 6 hard who do they go to? Sean?
Ben, and 2 for me in case the highway wants one, because it involves the highway department.
For the file, okay.
They don't always take it, but I'm supposed to ask for
But just in case.
So I get 2.
Okay.
Yep, all right, we will have those dropped off tomorrow, most likely. Because our clock,
Up front.
our clock ends on the 17th.
Amended resolution, essentially your clock.
Clock started
Starts
ticking
again.
again.
Oh, it starts again? Oh, wonderful.
Doesn't mean to, you still should get them
But you
in.
don't have to wait that long.
I want to be done. All right, thank you.
All right, thank you. Next item on the agenda, 355 Route 17M. And I want to acknowledge our liaison, Councilwoman Bingham is here, so if there's anything that you'd like to ask or raise a question, et cetera, please feel free.
Good evening, everyone. Mike Morgante, engineer for the applicant. So I believe we received a resolution of approval for review. I had a couple of small comments on it that I communicated with Ashley on today. We did also receive the latest comment letter from Sean. There's some housekeeping items that we need to deal with, which are minor. We do have some of this information. We may have it shown on a plan, so we might want to go over it and take a look at it with the board as well. But the only comment we had for Ashley as it related to the resolution was that there were no exterior walls. I think it was specific condition number 10. I don't recall exactly. It's not shown on the site plan, but on the architectural renderings, we had discussed to redo that parapet wall around the front. So I just wanted to make sure that that was noted. in the resolution. I think she's aware
I've
of that.
revised it, so the board will go over, and I'll point out those revisions to you as we
Yep.
we do that.
And the other one was, we just wanted a little extra detail and clarity on the proposed use, because even though we're okay with like a medical office use, apparently when the applicant applies to the health department, they have to do the same, there's an application after they get a CO for the health department. Health department apparently is like a little bit picky about what the actual use is. So as long as it's noted probably in the resolution, that helps us out a little bit. So those were really the only two concerns we had for that, which when we go over it, we'll take a look at it. So we had prepared on the site plan some turning diagrams to show if we can get in and out with parking spaces in the upper parking lot. The furthest parking space to the west, as you can see there, will require a small amount of additional pavement just to make sure there's adequate room for the car to turn and get out of the site. We also prepared some more detail, had the surveyor go back out to the site and get some spot elevations in the area of the ADA parking. So we were close, we were like 2.5%, 3%, and it could also all dependent upon where he took the shot. But I've shown some area there in that ADA parking area, as you can see, that we may need to just mill that a little bit and just kind of resurface it. We probably need to pick up a few inches is what it comes down to actually make the 2%.
You don't want them rolling down the hill.
We want to avoid that if we can,
Yes.
yeah. So this is just some of the additional information like we had been requested, the meat and potatoes of what was discussed at the last meeting.
Is this, so, see the hatch that you have along the line over here? Is that rock, or is that a wall, or that's just the edge of pavement?
And I think it's more possibly like the edge of pavement. We may need to add a little bit there, like in front of the refuse area as well. Looks like some. AutoCAD vehicle turn is a tricky little software program, and you gotta like hold your hand real steady when you're turning the vehicle. If you don't, you wander a little bit. So I think we probably can make that turn without needing to go off the pavement in that area, if you see what I'm saying, but I can take a look at that more closely and revise that if needed.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that, because I know there was some topography there, that this wasn't actually in an area where.
So I looked at that, it is consistent with the rest of the parking lot at 5%, plus
Okay.
or minus, so.
Okay.
And to your note, because we'll have to talk about that when we talk about the landscaping plan, yeah, there are rock outcroppings up in the back. There's very shallow depth to rock. One of the comments we received from the landscape consultant was to actually plant a tree in that area, which I don't think we can plant. I think she requested a red maple. So I'm probably going to try to talk to
Aaron?
Karen and just let her know that I think you probably got rock like within a foot, 2 feet over there. Because if you go behind the building, like where the refuse is and further up, then you can see the ledge popping out of the ground.
Okay.
So we'll talk about that. I'm kind of getting all over the place here, but that's all right. So, but yeah, there is a little bit of ledge out in the back over there. So we have to be careful with the plantings, some of the plantings that were suggested.
Sean, you have comments?
I do. So the biggest one I think we were talking about last time was a potential need for a variance for the proposed parking within the front yard setback. I did speak with Ben, and he determined that there is not a need for a variance because the total number of parking stalls is decreasing. And I got an email from him to that regard.
That we're reducing the non-complying condition?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. I had a couple notes that we had discussed last time. The board wanted to see the front door locations, the existing ramp width to confirm that that meets ADA, dimensioned on the plan. We're going to need a detail for the construction of the pavement on the upper parking lot. The existing lights to be noted and include the hours of operation on the site plan. And then one clarification on the architecturals, Mike, I think you emailed me, the proposed railings are going to be painted? So
Correct.
the existing railings are going to be painted a black color?
That's correct.
All right.
I think it's actually like a dark gray to be exact.
Okay.
The specific color was noted in
Yeah, in the
email that I sent
resolution.
you, yeah.
Yep.
Are those existing railings scrolly, or are they like this, what you're showing here?
There, I believe they have a little bit more of like a scroll design. If you want to bring it up on Google Maps, yeah, Street View, we could probably see it. I think that's what they appear to be. Yeah, they got some scroll designs in there. I mean, if we want to, I don't know how easy that is for the applicant to show that detail. You follow what I'm saying on the rendering, if that's what you are.
Or if it just could be noted as existing railing.
Are we okay with that, or did you prefer a more streamlined look? Does anybody have an opinion, or they're okay with it? Better to recycle than put in new, or? Doesn't matter.
I just wanted that roof line changed. But now the railing's going to stand out, but I'm happy with the roof line.
I think that's more obvious. Lou, any?
I agree with Dylan. I'm happy with the configuration, the new configuration of the roof.
Okay. So I will just say, in the interest of preserving metal and mining, reducing mining, that it would be okay to reuse what's there.
So just to touch on what Sean said before, do you want me to add a note on the rendering itself to say that the existing railing will remain essentially?
I think it'd be useful just because it looks like it's something else.
Yeah.
So, and, when Ben's looking at this, he'll know that the intent was
Yes,
to.
I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
Put that note on.
I think I have that as a condition, that you're going to add that the existing railings will be painted.
Remind everybody, this is like right now. Is it going to be called White Glove, or that's just a?
It is going to be called that.
No.
Yep.
Huh.
White glove.
It's like a boutique medical center?
We're going to find out.
He's going to be like a concierge with white. It should be interesting.
I had a note on the architectural there. You see how there's a painted brick facade on the corners, just to carry that on the top roof line as well.
Here?
No, on the edge of the sign. Yeah,
Here?
on the corners of that.
Corner of the facade.
Yep.
Right there.
Oh, yeah, okay, so let me make note of
That's a
that.
good idea.
Just keep it consistent.
Right, so this was a type 2 action, correct? Ashley, did you have any comments? You want us to launch into the resolution?
I think you could just go right into the,
All right, now I think that's the one that was edited. Okay. So this is the resolution of approval, amended site plan for 35517M LLC. Applicant has applied for approval of amended site plan to convert an existing 4,836 square foot restaurant building, formerly Triangelina, into medical office space for a proposed physical therapy facility with supporting offices and offices for health services training. So that's to address the Department of Health?
That's correct,
Okay.
yes.
Including modifications to the parking layout and building facade and the addition of a dumpster enclosure and landscaping. Project site consists of 2 parcels that will be merged into a single contiguous parcel of land prior to final site plan approval. Property involved, 355 Route 17M, and the tax parcel IDs provided. This is in the general business zoning district. This has been the submission to date. Application was originally filed on January 26, 2024. We did not hold a public hearing. This is a type 2 action because it's reuse of commercial structure, and it also involves less than 4,000 square feet of floor area. It's exempt from referral under Orange County Planning Department General Municipal Law 239M. And findings, planning board has determined the approved amended site plan will substantially serve public convenience, safety and health, safety and welfare, et cetera. This is sort of our standard language. We looked at it from an architectural perspective, and you're not involving the removal of any trees, so there's no tree payment. Plan doesn't involve any necessary public improvements. What was resolved for? Was it the water or the wastewater that you were connecting to on this one?
It's already connected to
Was it
Orange
Harem?
County Sewer District Number 1.
Okay.
There's a well for potable water.
Okay, so the well, it was a
That's-
individual well.
That's correct.
Okay, and that didn't require any new approvals, or no?
No, essentially, the restaurant used a significantly larger volume of water than this facility will, so we showed those water demand calculations for Sean's review,
Okay,
and it seemed to be sufficient.
okay. So specific conditions, approval is subject to final engineering review of the plan set. Plan shall not be signed until receipt of a letter from the planning board engineer certifying that all deficiencies noted in his memo of 11 April 2024 have been remedied and that they're suitable for signature. Prior to the signing of the plans, applicant shall comply with all outstanding comments of the planning board's landscape consultant, Karen Arndt, landscape architect. Plan shall not be signed until receipt of a letter from the planning board landscape consultant certifying that all deficiencies noted in her memo of April 9, 2024, and any other reasonably requirements of said consultant have been remedied to her satisfaction. Prior to the signing of the plans, applicant shall provide proof to the building department and planning board engineer that the two parcels involved in this application have been merged, and the plan shall be revised to show a single contiguous plan on all plan sheets, which may also affect the tax lot parcel number?
That's correct, right. So I believe that has been submitted to the assessor, so as soon as we get the new SBL back, we'll make sure we update the plans accordingly before signature.
Okay. Prior to the signing of the plans, a front 3D view rendering plan shall be revised as follows. Identify the material and color of the proposed sign as brushed aluminum background with navy blue acrylic lettering. Is there lighting on that sign? There was no lighting?
Not that
Not proposed.
not that I'm aware. We haven't proposed anything.
Okay. Do we have anything on the plans that say no lighting proposed or lighting's the same?
There's a condition.
Okay, it's coming up.
There was also a note on the plan.
Okay. Indicate that the existing railings will be painted at gravel gray to 2027-30.
I was just going to add, based on Dylan's comment, a third item here to reflect that the trim along the edges of the parapet wall will be painted gravel gray 212730.
Gravel gray as well.
Do we also want to add the new section block and lot number? I don't know.
I think,
I think might be confused with the resolution old too. So I mean, on the plan, you might refer to the old
Formerly.
numbers and then say what the new number is.
yeah,
depending.
formerly or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Applicant shall only use the approved materials and colors set forth on the front 3D view rendering plan. Any deviations have to come back to us. All landscaping shall be maintained in a healthy and vibrant condition at all times for duration of the use and shall be replaced in kind if damaged or otherwise destroyed. Any substitution requires our approval. No new lighting is being approved as part of the application. All existing exterior lighting shall utilize energy-efficient LED bulbs and shall have a maximum color temperature of 2700 K. No disturbance is approved beyond the existing building and pavement footprint except as shown on the plans. We evaluated the application based on the size of the structure as shown. No building permit for a structure larger than as shown will be issued. Site plan approval allows construction of only that which is shown on the plans. No outdoor amenities or accessory structures or outdoor fixtures, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, may be constructed, except as shown in the approved site plan. Without approval of the building inspector, the planning board is required. Notwithstanding the foregoing, this approval allows construction of a new parapet wall along the front of the building as shown on the front 3D view rendering plan. No encroachments on neighboring properties is being authorized, regardless of whether they're shown, except as hereby modified. All conditions attached to all earlier grants of site plan approval are to remain in effect, and this approval is subject to and conditioned upon satisfaction the same as if those conditions are set forth herein at length. Then we have our standard general conditions about the length of time that the site plan is approved, and condition on the applicant securing whatever other necessary permits are required. All fees and expenses related to the land use application review will be paid. Full complete entity disclosure statement. Site plan is binding on the applicant. So again, we're pretty familiar with all this. All right, so with that, does anybody have any edits, comments, or questions? Lou?
No comment.
Jeff?
No comment.
Pat?
No comment.
Dylan?
No, thank you.
All right, so I will make a motion that we approve the resolution of approval for the amended site plan for 35517M LLC, subject to the amendments discussed this evening. May I have a second?
Second.
Pat seconds. Noreen?
Here,
Aye.
Jeff Manson,
Aye.
Bonnie Franson,
Aye.
Pat Shea,
Aye.
Dylan Penn.
Aye.
Thank you.
That the motion carries and the site plan is approved.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Are you here for the next one?
I am here for the
Okay.
next one as well.
All right. Got a busy agenda today, but it's going quick. So next item on the agenda, this is a new application, 37 Dry Hill Road. So I will bring up that application. Is there any plan set?
Yeah, it's a little hard for me to read that from here. You got it, that's the one.
So why don't you give us a description of what you're proposing?
Yeah, go to possibly the last sheet at this point. Let's take a look, should be the grading plan. It's probably the best one to take a
This
look at. That's the site plan sheet. We could start there. Zoom in though to the building area if you can. So I believe we're in the SR 15. And I'll do my best because it's a little hard to see from here. But if everybody knows where Dry Hill Lake Road is.
We can angle that a little more. George, can I move it?
I'm not so sure it's the angle as opposed to the distance. If it was turned towards me, it certainly would help.
It would
Would you
help.
like to borrow the plan set that I have here?
Sorry, say that
Would
again?
you like to borrow the plan set that I have here?
I know them. I'm pretty sure I can figure it out. Yeah, maybe if it just turned a little bit more perpendicular. On the bottom. So, there you go.
Oh,
Turn.
Mike's table?
It wouldn't matter. I'm still not going to face it.
Take a mic with you. Mike, take one of the mics with you. So if you talk,
I'll just stand up here.
you loosen a wire, you will be in trouble.
Vanna?
Come on, Vanna. Hey, she's gonna be the new Pat, I hear.
No karaoke though tonight. So Dry Hill Lake Road is an unimproved road, meaning that it's not an actual town road at this point. So What we have shown here is a rather large building footprint. It's about 4,204 square feet. We've got the lake here, so naturally there's a 100-foot wetland buffer that's imposed by the town, which we are doing the best we can, obviously, to adhere to. Got a driveway coming in this location here to a garage. There's a separate entrance or sidewalk that would connect back to the street. We do have a sewer manhole located in this location right here that ultimately we would try to connect to. We will need to talk to Orange County Sewer District Number 1 for, number 1, a technical acceptance of the plans, and number 2, ultimately to try to file a permit to connect. And we also have a water mark out that's shown in this location here. So we do have what appears to be municipal water and sewer available for this particular site. The site, if we could zoom out just a little bit, you can actually go back to 2 sheets to the existing conditions plan. It'll just be good for the board to see. It's a rather steep site. It's not so steep in this part right here. If we can just move this a little bit further to the right. But in the back here, it gets pretty steep, and then there's a little bit of a flatter area again in the back. I wanted you to see the existing conditions plan because it's easier to see the existing topo on this than it is on the grading plan to give everybody an idea. Again, here's the lake. There's that 100-foot buffer. So if we can go forward 2 sheets of the grading plan again, I'll continue to give the presentation on that. Yeah, this is fine. So, again, driveway, garage. They're looking to construct a swimming pool in the back with a pool house. Because of the existing topography on the site, in order to maintain the proper coverage for the building foundation, we do require a retaining wall kind of around the edge of the building, like the back half of it, where it starts to get real steep, which is the reason why you're seeing, if you could just scroll down a little bit. Yeah, that's a good, little trick I use, control, and use your mouse and scroll in and out. It's a lot easier to zoom. That's because you're using the zoom command right, but that's all right.
I don't have a mouse. I'm using my pad.
This is good though. Leave it right there. Don't touch anything. So we have this retaining wall located in this area right here. Again, predominantly so that we maintain, foundation coverage for the rear portion of the building, and it also gives us an opportunity to kind of terrace this just a little bit because we kind of need some terraces so that the applicant can ultimately get to the backyard and utilize something here. We also have a retaining wall wrapped around the back of the property in order to bring the grade up so that we can site the swimming pool and the pool house at the proper elevation that would allow us access to the house. I mean, that's pretty much in a nutshell the description of the project that you're looking at. There's obviously quite a few constraints associated with the project that we've come to understand from Sean's memo and other sources, but that's kind of what you see before you tonight. That's a general overview of the project.
Oh, let me just see if this will come up. Behind, right here. So is it at the, it's right over here where this is? So this is the stream outlet in here?
That's correct. There's a spillway back there. There's a dam and a spillway that, and you can pretty much see it right here. And it's shown on the site plan as well. There's the little spillway, and here's the actual, I guess we'll call it drainage ditch that the overflow goes down.
Isn't this the one that blows out? It's
Yes.
blown out, right?
Blows out 17M.
And
Yes.
isn't this the one where we've had a couple of applications right around here?
Yep.
So you see where the 2 buildings are down at the bottom?
Yep.
Demaco's project. Right.
That's my
this one.
grandmother's house.
Yep, that one, yeah.
This one, and then they were also, wasn't someone doing some,
were talking about the spillway and the drainage.
yeah.
That's
Didn't we have someone on Snoop
that
too?
vacant parcel.
Right over here, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me about what's going on over here. Is it like dammed there and it's a spillway or artificial? What have you found?
Yeah, no, there's a concrete structure there.
Okay.
If you go back to my site plan, I think we have it surveyed. So you can see the concrete spillway right there. And then, we've kind of delineated the path of the ditch, which direction the water flows. That's well within the 100-foot wetland buffer. It's right up against the lake. I mean, we're not proposing anything anywhere near that. But that's exactly where it is on the plan.
So I think one of the questions, although I don't know that it affects this application, is should there be a 100-foot buffer shown by the stream corridor as well? And then that plays into actually 17M when it comes back to us with Mr. Namaco. But, okay, so why don't we jump to Sean, your comments?
Sure. So as you know, this is a single-family dwelling project. Typically wouldn't get a site plan for a single-family dwelling. However, when this lot was created, there was a planning board resolution that required it come back for planning board approval in order to construct the house there, as well as it be sewered. Ben had referred this to me last month, and we agreed that it had to come to planning in order for it to proceed.
So, real quick, because the description application proposes a subdivision amendment. Is it do we
I
need?
think it would be an amendment to the subdivision because the subdivision plat had a note saying that this lot can't be developed without planning board approval and without a sewer permit. So it would be amending the subdivision plat.
There's no site plan.
Well, it's site plan in the sense that it's site plan elements on a subdivision map.
Okay.
Sorry for the. So as part of, we were speaking about the dam, part of that resolution actually required that the applicant prepare a covenant and file it in the county clerk's office for the dam and spillways for the owner of this lot to maintain that dam. So we, first to ask, furnish that covenant.
Okay, is there any understanding of who actually maintains it at this time?
This lot, I believe, is supposed to.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
This property owner, the lot.
Oh,
lot
so
that you
whoever the
own.
current property owner is. Well, I'm sorry, the property owner before the one that I'm representing right now, they would have been the ones who were also responsible for the maintenance?
I think we have to see the covenant
I
in order
believe
to
that's what
understand.
the condition was meant to require, that it would run with the property owner. So,
Anybody have the old plan?
yeah, the owner of Lot 3 for the perpetual maintenance of the dam and spillway. It was included in the,
In the submission?
yes, there's
Okay.
like a JPEG.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to get here at the same time. So the subdivision was for Dry Hill Road?
Or a few lots on Dry
On
Hill
Dry
Lake
Hill.
Road. Yep. The road had already existed, and so two ADA variances were also granted at that time for the.
No, these three. Okay.
So I have a comment, and it may not be correct. We'll have to talk to Ashley with regards to the roadway specifications. So section 6313C2 C says that a private road cannot provide access for more than 4 lots, except when 2 of the lots get their frontage on a public street. The existing private road provides access to more than 10 lots. However, the lot has already been created. So we'll have to talk to Ashley about that nuance, whether or not it can be, private road can be utilized, or if the road has to be upgraded to a public road. Mike noted that they'll be connecting to the existing sewer, and we will need approval from Orange County Sewer District Number 1. All the improvements within Dry Hill Lake Road will require an easement from the owner of the roadway. A couple clerical notes for lowest sewerable elevation for the building. It wasn't clear how potable water was going to be provided to the lot. Are you anticipate connecting to Water District 8?
Yes, I actually wasn't anticipating these plans were going to even be submitted to the planning board, quite frankly. They were submitted without me really knowing this, so they're obviously not really advanced plans at this point. But yes, that's our idea, is to connect, yes.
And then I had a note, which I think Mike acknowledged. He recognizes that the executive office building behind this is proposing a water main extension across this property. The executive office building. I
Yeah.
think we saw it last month.
Is that Namaco, or is that the other?
Samuelson.
Yeah, it's engineering
Jay
properties.
Samuelson?
Yeah. So, obviously those improvements should be noted on this plan. The wetland boundary is noted, and the delineator is noted on the plans, but I just asked that the date of the delineation be provided on the plans as well. The applicant should note the total disturbance on the plan. And then one last cleanup item, the Village of Harriman line is actually, boundary is actually the southern boundary of this property, so I just asked that that be added to the plan as well.
Sure.
Ashley, comments?
Yes, so as we discussed, this would be an amendment to the subdivision. That prior subdivision was for 3 lots. There it is. So this lot and the lot adjacent to it did obtain 2 ADA variances, but after they obtained the variances, the planning board ultimately decided that this lot can't be built on until they obtain a sewer permit, and they would also have to come back for planning board approval. So discussing with, about the road spec, so I did read the provision that Sean had mentioned, and it talks about creating a lot. So it says in order to create in excess of 4 lots, so this lot's already been created, and at the time it was created, likely the road specifications didn't have this requirement in place, and they did already obtain the 2 ADA variance, so I don't see that being an issue, as long as the the private road has been improved pursuant to that 2 ADA variance, because it required very specific improvements at that time. You will need to submit the EAF. I didn't see that included. And it would likely be a unlisted action. The planning board did issue a neg deck back in 2001, so I'm going to ask Noreen to look and see if she could locate that for me. And if major has changed, you would potentially be able to just reaffirm that neg deck. It does require doesn't require referral to the county. It is close to the Village of Harriman and Village of Monroe boundaries, but because that agreement with Orange County Planning says subdivisions of less than 5 lots are exempt as long as there's no structures in the 100-year floodplain. I don't believe that this is. I looked on the mapper, but we could verify that. It will need a public hearing, and you'll have to send the notice to the Village of Harriman and Village of Monroe. You'll need a tree plan, and that'll have to be referred to the Monroe Conservation Commission. And I think that was...
So for seeker, on the one hand, it was a subdivision that was subject to a neg deck, but the action right now is, while it's an amendment to a site plan, it's really construction of a single-family dwelling.
It's not, so, and this is an interesting one, because it's a construction of a single-family dwelling on an approved lot. So this lot wasn't approved for single-family home yet.
This also talks about the owner of Lot 3 should be responsible for maintenance and condition of the dam spillway in accordance with the declaration to be filed. Was that declaration?
That's something that Sean had mentioned before, that he asked Mike to locate a copy of that. I could look as well on the county records. I might be able to find it easily, but it was supposed to be filed as a condition of the plan approval.
And then what's the status of, is a cul-de-sac there or no?
There is one there now, physically, I can tell you that.
There is?
Yeah.
Okay.
What was, just out of curiosity, what was that filed map number so I can get a copy of that myself? Can you zoom out on that PDF you had up before?
This one?
Yeah. I'm not,
File map, this one?
yes. Well, it's got the Monroe Planning Board. I don't know if it's the actual filed maps from
I don't
the
see it.
county. I don't see it. Okay. I'll figure it out from tax maps.
Yeah, I don't see a county map, no. There's a deed here, but that's the deed, I guess.
That's fine. I'll find it.
Okay. All right.
So just so I understand, what, how are we handling the road situation? Is it something that will need to be paved in its entirety? Is it not something that needs to be paved in its entirety, or?
So it was already subject to a 280A variance for this lot.
Yep.
So that 280A variance had specific improvements that had to be done to the road.
Okay.
Those, I think, were required to be done before they constructed the home on the adjacent lot, so theoretically they should have been done, but it would have to be in conformance
Okay.
with
Good.
that.
Is that proposed pool meeting setback requirements?
Town of Monroe is, I feel like it's 15 feet, it's 10 or 15 feet. I'm pretty sure, go to the site plan sheet, the one before. That'll have the dimensions on it.
Not on this one?
The one before this one. So I'm only showing 5 feet right now. I don't know that that is meeting the actual requirement. We're gonna have to look at that.
Yeah, I think we need to see what the setback requirements are for some of these. And then this retaining wall is right on, that doesn't exist, right? You're going to build that.
We're gonna build that.
So that's sitting right on the
It's
property line?
It's gonna be very difficult to construct that.
But
gonna
the
be very
fill
difficult to
side
construct this
is
entire
behind,
project.
so on the property. The fill side is on the property side.
It is, but realistically, you need probably a solid 5 feet from the edge of the property line just for construction purposes. It's gonna be real hard to build that wall without a little bit of space between the property line and the wall, so.
Got a temporary,
Yes, potentially. It'd have to be operation and maintenance easement as well, not just a construction easement. So, we'll kind of flesh that out a little bit more as we move the plan forward.
Yeah, because I think we're going to need to see a design detail for the wall and also aesthetic, because I think you're going to be, removing trees here. This is going to be visible. And
I'm sorry, say that again? What's going to be visible?
it's going to be visible if, it may be visible if you're clearing up to the property line.
Well, you won't.
I'm not sure. I think we have to just take a look at it
Yeah, okay.
in concert with some of the other proposals that are in front of the town. Architectural for this, not,
Up for single.
okay.
Like, it looks like the filed map number is 20-03.
Thank you so much.
I would like to see like a cross-section in terms of, because one of the,
Of the site in general, you mean like a profile?
for going through the house, I think, because our regulations talk about building terrain adaptive housing and stepping down houses instead of, doing a lot of filling and grading. So I would just like to know sort of what this looks like in terms of a profile.
Yeah, we can do that.
And then what are these, this is all grading in here, these lines?
Correct.
So it just looks odd, the shapes.
So, I can just go through it real quick with you. These lines on the edge here are just, again, from design program. They weren't frozen. I wasn't anticipating this was going to be submitted. But these dashed heavy lines and the dark lines connect back to the existing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if you ignore the large dash line, it is literally outlining the limits of grading.
Okay.
You'll see the grading lines better.
Okay. Yeah, I'd also like to see whether the driveway's supposed to be a certain setback. This is only going to be a one-car garage?
I had to convince the applicant to make that a one-car garage because I couldn't get any more in.
So, yeah, if this is 4,204 square feet, that's the footprint. That's a big building. Very big home. You know how many bedrooms you're thinking about?
I'll have to confirm that. I only ever got a building footprint itself. I mean, I don't remember seeing the labelings of bedrooms, but I'll find out.
Is this an atrium area in here? Do you know?
I don't.
It almost looks like an atrium, and this looks like two sets of
Those look
tables.
some kind of dining room tables of some sort.
Dining room, and then oh my goodness. I forgot to plug it in. And then there's like an office or dining in the front too? Like a study?
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I don't recall what I think most of the bedrooms might have been on the second floor. I don't recall how many at the time, though.
Are there floor plans?
I don't believe I submitted them because, again, I didn't even make the submittal. But I am here representing the application. I am the engineer. The client actually made the submittal. So the applicant themselves made the submittal. So I'll try to get some of that information and get it to the planning board.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely look at the retaining wall, definitely look at, because this wall is going to be, what, 9 feet high? Could it be possibly higher?
Yeah, if you scroll out a little bit, or zoom out a little bit, or scroll up, one or the other. I think it was about 12 feet on the left-hand side. I forget what it was. It tapers down, I think, as we go this way, if I'm not mistaken. So you're a little about 8.5 feet in that corner, and as you go this way, yeah, we do meet existing grade at some point back there.
Yeah, I saw that over in here somewhere.
Yeah.
The other thing was, if you look at this map, this is showing some kind of culvert going over this way. Do you show that on your plan?
Let's go back and take a look. I'm not sure the surveyor picked that up.
I don't know where that's tying in.
Go to the existing conditions plan on that one. It might be easier to see. That would be like 2 sheets before this one. Yep. It doesn't appear that was picked up.
Yeah, I think you need to show that because
It's an important feature.
yeah, I think it's probably flowing down this way, right? Maybe? You
Yeah, I'm
think?
sure it's
Yeah.
draining towards the lake.
The
yeah.
lake.
The contours in this area here seem to show that it would drain right there.
Because this is showing it like coming across, and obviously this is a subdivision plan, so it may look different, but this is coming across this way and then over. And I don't know what it's going to. I think it's just flowing down the hill, because I don't know if it's going to flow into the lake, the way the topo is.
Contours are going down, so this would come here and it would turn and run perpendicular.
Yeah, and it's going to depend on where it is here along the road, so that'll have to be
Yeah,
added.
we'll pick that up.
Okay. I'll start with Pat. Pat, do you have any comments? By the way, here's a CMP over here, but I don't know if that's it or if that's just another
Actually,
one.
go back to the grading plan.
Because that would be more over here, because it's showing it by the pond, as opposed to here,
Yeah,
in front of your lot.
go back to my grading plan now. I want to see go 2 sheets forward. and then scroll down a little bit
Yeah, that's there. That CMP's there.
okay.
Okay,
We probably need to get the extent of the cul-de-sac too.
yeah.
So I guess the entrance to this road, Dry Hill Road, is almost right across the street from the entrance to Quick Check.
Right.
Just slightly up the hill.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's correct.
I've been there 1,000 times. I've never noticed that road.
Tri Hill Lake Road, yeah.
Is it just a dirt road, or?
It's not a dirt road. It's definitely got some kind of a sub-base to it, whether it's item 4, gravel, a mixture of both. So it's not necessarily dirt.
All of the mailboxes are out here because it's a private road?
Yeah. But as you get towards the cul-de-sac, the pavement quality is not quite as good. I don't think you can get a street view in there.
No, because it's private.
Yeah.
And then there's the Quick Check where I regularly buy coffee.
The cul-de-sac, from what I recall, it's been a few months now since I've been out there. The cul-de-sac is more of like a gravelly item 4 kind of mixer, maybe some pavement mixed in there, but it's not as in good a condition as you can see here.
So, on the one hand, it's private, but should we refer it to the highway superintendent for any recommendations? And then we should refer it to the fire department, just for any communication regarding a turnaround at the end or any opinion they may have.
Sure. Fire for sure.
I don't know if the highway super would give any comments on it, but the fire department.
And we may just want to offer it, although, again, I don't know the jurisdiction, but
Is that because, what's the reasoning for that? Is there a shared maintenance agreement or just not something they would?
There should be. It's because it's a private road, so it's
Yeah.
not something that the town maintained or that the town highway super jurisdiction over, but that's something else if we could find that when you're locating that covenant for the spillway maintenance, also the common driveway, or I'm sorry, private road maintenance agreement, because there is supposed to be.
yeah, I'd be curious how this is getting maintained and whether or not somehow the town isn't getting involved at this point, even if it's private, unless you find a private road maintenance agreement.
As I recall, a few years ago, they had some sort of water sewer project for that whole area up there, Orchard Drive.
I was a part of working on the Water District Number 8, so I'm familiar with Water District Number 8.
Going to have connection to those?
Yeah, I think we're considering connection to the water service line, the water maintenance in the street. That's how we're going to look to service the project.
Dylan, do you have comments?
Yeah. What's the existing width of the road?
Pursuant to the 288 variance, it's supposed to be 22 and a half feet.
Do we know what it is now? Second question is, are the lots on the south side of the road not on the sewage? Because the drawing from 2001, if you bring it up.
You want me to bring up that?
Yeah,
The filed map.
I just wanted to bring up executive too, so let me go back.
like their septic field on the south side.
Over this one?
So that north side of the road, south side, those plans, or is that septic, or what, if you zoom in
It does.
on each of those?
This appears to be a septic field right here.
Yep. Same thing on the south side of that road.
This is saying existing septic, proposed septic. These are all septic. This was Rainbow at the time. There's a well house here.
Dylan, yes,
Or there
I
was.
pulled up one of the lots on the south side. The county has the record as private sewer, but they are in the district, so they could connect.
But to do that, they may have to run a whole line down?
No, there's a line there.
Oh, you're saying there's a line?
There's a sewer manhole right in front of our property.
Oh, okay. So just to go back to this real quick, this is 17. This is executive office.
Right.
This is a crazy layout with the parking. Yeah, but this is your property, I believe, right? Because this is the wetland?
That's correct. That's the.
Oh,
the
they are showing the 100, I don't know why we're not going to put wetland, we're not going to put parking in the wetland buffer there.
They're looking
Yeah,
to
we discussed that with them.
they're looking to reduce
last
the parking.
It's like brand new, there's no reason why we should allow it if it's brand new. But I digress. But I want to show you that to see where your lot is and what's going on relative to it.
I'm not in the wetland buffer, though.
Huh?
I'm trying to stay out of the wetland buffer the best I
Thank
can.
you.
Yes.
Jeff, did you have any comments?
No, I see in the original variance, they call out three things for the road, that the width be widened to 22 and a half, that the storm drains be lowered, which presently exist along Dry Hill Lake Road, so they would be below grade and function as storm drains, allowing water to drain as required, and resurface Dry Hill Lake Road from the northwest property line of Lot 1, as shown on the plan, through the cul-de-sac terminus at the southeast end of Dry Hill Lake Road with 6 inches of compacted item 4, again, as shown on it references a Raymundi sketch plan. So I would think minimally we would need to just ensure that all of those things are in place as part of this again. Okay.
The owner is Aaron Zimmerman. Oops. What is going
Yeah, we'll have to go to the, yep.
Owner of
Aaron
premises
Zimmerman
there.
is-
last year?
So Sean's comment 10, is that in reference to the executive building you just brought up?
Right.
I mean, our plan obviously is not fully complete yet, but I will note that it's going to be difficult to get a water line or water main extension, I think, from Dry Hill Lake Road to go down to that new development. I'm not sure I'll leave that to the planning board and their consultants as it relates to the other project, but crossing our site, depending on what the density of our development is, and connecting to that new project's not going to be an easy task.
Lou, did you have any?
No, just where, so if it can't connect to to the sewer lines, then I guess we're gonna go septic?
Yeah, we'll probably have to not
be
go with a
able
pool,
to-
and that probably will be our septic field area if that's the case.
You wouldn't, well, per that original approval, it's requiring sewer
It does
approval.
require, so we have to find a way to get to Orange County Sewer District Number 1. And Sean noted we're in the district, so I'll make application to them shortly and start getting some feedback from them.
If anything else? Everybody? So at this point, it sounds like you need to update the plan some. So I don't know that there's anything more to do this evening, and we'll just await getting a new submission
Yeah,
with
no,
the additional details.
that was a lot of good information we collected tonight, so we'll take that back and try to revise the plans accordingly, get the information that the planning board needs, and we'll come back in when we can get that done.
Okay.
All right, thanks for your time tonight, everybody.
All right. We got through a lot of items today. All right, so now we're to minutes. Mary, do you have any comments or questions about anything? All right, so I would just say let's put the March on for next meeting. But we can go through, well, let's see if we have everybody to go through. We're okay for all? All right,
Various ones.
let's see. Agenda.
October 17th, we have Bonnie, Jeff, Lou, so, oh, but back then we were a 7-member board. No, we don't.
So,
Oh, well, oh, wait, Ashley has something to say. We're approving as a 5-member boards.
The action you're taking now is as a 5-member board, so
okay to take it?
I think you could take it. And if not, then the draft minutes just become the minutes. If you can't approve them, then there's no requirement to approve them, so.
So, yeah, you don't have to hang around. I forgot to mention to you. Did you have anything else or anything that we should be aware of? Okay. All right, which one are we going over right now? I was going to bring it up.
Sorry,
10-7,
mic,
are we on
George.
10-17 minutes? Which minutes are we on?
10-17.
Okay. Good night. Have a good night.
Okay.
Bye, Sean.
Huh? No, I got another week. We're doing it the weekend after.
You weren't here? So I was just adding, technically, they're supposed to have the noes and the abstentions in the minutes, so I added that. Some,
Oh, I didn't
and then tabled. So this one was pretty clean. So, So people can vote on it even if they're not present, so long as they read or went through it. So right now we have me, Jeff, and Lou, and we're 5 members, so we can vote. So any other amendments, changes? Okay, so would someone make a motion to adopt the October 17, 2023 Town of Monroe Planning Board minutes?
Motion.
And a second?
You did it together.
Jeff?
Lou. Lou.
Okay, then
Fred.
who's second?
Second.
Noreen?
Lou Revere,
Aye.
Jeff Manson,
Aye.
Bonnie Franson,
Aye.
Pat Shea.
Yeah, do I vote?
You can abstain, or you can vote, whatever you want.
Aye.
Abstain.
Okay, so these are approved. And it was Lou and Jeff. And, okay, now November 9th.
Jeff, Pat, and Dylan.
Okay, so we're good to go. So again, some minor comments. I don't think we have to differentiate between in-house or they're just our consultants. So,
And out.
okay.
I think that's the first time I ever put it on.
Yeah, it's like, so this
Some
was just
days I
a
don't
lot
know what
of
I'm typing.
cleanup, writing out, instead of having some abbreviations here. This was Meadow Hill, Smitham. I changed some of the directions. Town
It
seat.
was fixed, I just never re-uploaded, so when I printed it again, it didn't get my corrections.
And then we should probably, just as a matter of course with our reviews, it's always useful to say if the application is incomplete, that we actually, before we move on, say it's incomplete. We don't want anyone to think that it's complete and yet we haven't held a public hearing or we haven't opened certain things. So it's good practice, and I was just thinking about it. All right, so are there any other edits? Okay, so with that, would someone offer a motion to accept the November 9th, 2023 minutes?
So moved.
That's Pat. May I have a second?
Second.
That was Lou?
Dylan Penn,
Aye.
Pat Shea,
Aye.
Bonnie Franson,
Aye.
Jeff Manson,
Aye.
Lou Revere.
Aye.
Okay, so all approved. approved of who is here. All right, and then next is November 21st. And might have been one that you might have updated already. Okay, yeah. So, all right. Someone please make a motion that we approve the November 21, 2023 minutes.
So moved.
That's Jeff. May I have a second?
Second.
That's Lou.
Ken,
Aye.
Pat Shea,
Aye.
Bonnie Franson,
Aye.
Jeff Manson,
Aye.
Lou Rivera.
Aye.
Okay. So, I'm sorry, that was, who was that again? Second and first? First and second? Who just made a motion and then second?
motion.
Jeff, Lou,
And then all approve. All right, and last is December 19th. All right. And this was Pilati. I just added the nays and the abstentions. Edits. Oh my goodness.
I don't think you find that in there.
I just added some, I actually went through I actually listened to the minutes for this one. So I added some information that was not here or was missing. And there were some of what I thought was substantive I added back in.
On the 19th?
This was on the 19th.
Right, I'll make sure I double check. Make sure I had that.
Yeah,
did
so
that
you
one.
have these. I mean, I sent this to everybody. So you have
Yeah.
these edits.
I'll just make sure that I did them in the system before I save it again.
Otherwise, there were typos, again, the nays and abstentions. And then we had approved a whole bunch of minutes that evening, and that was it. That was December 19th. So with that, I will make a motion that we approve the the December 19th minutes. May I have a second?
Second.
Noreen?
Rivera,
Aye.
Jeff Manson,
Aye.
Bonnie Franson,
Aye.
Pat Shea,
Aye.
Dylan Penn.
Aye.
One of these days I'm gonna mix it up, except I'd screw myself up.
All right. So we're missing the other March minutes.
Almost done.
Okay, so that goes to Jeff.
Oh, right, because you weren't
I was
here.
not here, so it's best if you review it. Is there a way to get it so we can do it at our next meeting?
I'm hoping to have it finished. I'm working on the Monroe Commons. The rest of it's done.
Okay.
I'm just making sure because it's so technical with Monroe Commons, the
Yeah, I was-
DEIS and
Yeah, I
the
wasn't here,
FEIS
so,
and- We had a lot of inaudible that day, too. I was having quite a few issues.
was there a lot of, was there public here for that?
No.
Was there any discussion or no? I mean, you wouldn't have any discussion with public, but, okay.
Sort of. Informal.
Whether you wanted to or not, it kind of
Right.
happened? Okay.
I would say there was some informal discussion, right?
Mary, anything you want to add? Anything you want to add or anything we should be aware of? Okay. Yes.
All right,
Oh,
so
do you have any invoices?
I'll bring them up Tuesday.
Okay, and then I have invoices, but I'm going over them, I'm going to go over them with Tony
That's fine.
related to ACRF.
Okay.
Okay.
Just a reminder, I sent it out again today about the mandatory classes we have to take.
Okay.
Jen is
Thank
asking
you.
for when, if you can't make the class, do you want the opportunity to do it via email? Or,
Like a Zoom type of thing?
yes.
Yeah, that'd be great.
All right, well, I have to give her a list. So you
So-
want,
Yeah, I've already enrolled in
yes,
that. and
you've
I've
already
gotten my-
enrolled in that. So Bonnie wants that.
Yeah, it's just,
Are you
Running around
able
with
to make
meetings.
one of the day ones, Lou, or do you need the evening?
I have to get back to you on that.
All right, if you could soon, because the class is next week, and she has to give them a head count. Pat?
I got back to Jen today.
Okay, and Dylan? It is what I'm being told. It'll go to your planning board email. That's, you have to take it through the planning board email, and then you,
You have to enroll in the system. I guess it's a different thing than what we've used in the past.
yes, it's,
And then, so like kind of setting up a profile, and then you can access it and then access the trainings that you need, and
Okay. That's the way we do it, because
yeah.
I have to do these doubly, because I have to do
every
this for
job
work.
has to, it's,
Yeah.
I understand.
Have to do it
but
triply.
Oh,
she
do you?
just-
I just did it, I just did this stuff, most of it for BJ's.
Okay.
I'm sure the bank is soon to follow.
So just as an
I wrote the
FYI,
answers.
that is the total eclipse. That was in North River. I got into the zone of totality. So I was at the New York Planning Federation conference, and I was there because the planning board chairperson in Hyde Park, we nominated him to be planning board chairperson of the year. So I was like halfway there. And so right after that, and they were like, let's take pictures. I'm like, no, I gotta go. So hauled Pushy up through the Adirondack, from Saratoga up to someplace north of the river. All I wanted to do was get into the zone. And it was the most incredible thing I've ever seen in my life. There's going to be one totality, 2026 in Iceland. I recommend everybody try and go, because then the next one's 20 years from now.
It's 2044 or something like
Yeah.
that. My mother says,
Yeah, it's 2044.
I don't think
so
I'll make that one. I'm
it
like,
was
"Oh,
so
okay, Mom."
intense, so wonderful,
85.
highly recommended. It's only like 600, one way to Iceland, so just go to Iceland.
I have
and visit.
vacation, I'm asking now.
They do. That's the other benefit. It's right out of Stewart. So book your flights now. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.